Yeah. It's Snap. Woo. Who you thought it was? Yeah. It's me, nigga. Yeah. A representative for the A-Town. Hey. Snap stack chips like she live in a Bellagio. I be in it laying on verandas or a bungalow. Catch me in Afghanistan, still out with the Sunni. Catch me in Burundi with the tribe of Watusi. I be in kimono.
Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Welcome back to a brand new episode of the Scott Free Podcast. I am your host, L. Scott himself, and I am happy to be back on the microphone after a quick hiatus. I took a couple of days off. If you know anything about me personally, I'm an emotional guy, so I'm not going to shoot a video or podcast or anything if I'm not feeling it. And I want to give you guys the best content as I can possibly bring to you, even though we're in the beginning stages. If you've watched any of my earlier podcasts, you know that I always tell people that we're still setting up a lot of things for this 300 network that this platform will be on, but it's going to be a major platform where you can go to and listen to music, stream podcasts, get educated on documentaries, lectures, all the same, everything and so much more. And it'll all be for free as long as I can possibly keep it that way. So just stay tuned for that. I'll keep you guys posted on that when it comes up. But with that being said, today's episode, I think today's topic, like I said, I'm an emotional person, so I want to dive into something when I feel it. And I really want to get into some of these racial implications that are going on for Black society right now. I have been on this subject heavy the last couple of weeks, but I think and this is not what the channel is solely going to be about, people. So I just want you to know that. I think the only reason why we've been on it so much lately is because of just, it's one thing after another thing after another thing that Black people are just seeming to have to go through. And so at this point, if we don't have a discussion about it, I don't think, because some of us, I don't think we even recognize all of what's happening at one time. So I'll tell you today what got me sparked to even have the conversation, and I'll play it right now. So I'm telling you guys about it. I'm gonna get it queued up. But I was watching ESPN earlier, and they had a segment come on where the WNBA right now, the Women's League, is in the playoffs right now, I think. And one of the teams, I guess, was on the road at another team's facility, and it was just racial slurs thrown at them left and right, so much that the players addressed it afterwards. And what I want to play for you guys is one of the players discussing what she went through there, and then we're going to come back and I'm going to have a quick discussion about that, and then I'll give you my thoughts. All right, so let me get everything in order because I want to make sure I get this right. So let's cut the music. And we're gonna get everything queued up, and then we're gonna go from there. Okay, so here we go.
Connecticut
Fair use, guys.
Thomas and
Fair
Indiana
use.
Fever coach Christy Sides both called for the abusive comments toward W players to stop during their respective post-game news conferences following Game 2 on Wednesday night. Thomas went as far as to ask the league to step in to do something about the behavior.
In my 11-year career, I've never experienced the racial comments from the Indiana Fever fan base. We had her face on a serious matter that happened in this world, and it's unacceptable, honestly. And there's no place for it, and we've been professional throughout the whole entire thing, but I've never been called the things that I've been called on social media, and there's no place for it. And basketball is headed in a great direction, but nah, we don't want fans that are going to degrade us and call us racial names. I mean, we already see what's happening in the world and what we have to deal with in that aspect. And we come to play basketball for our job and it's fun, but we don't want to go to work every day and have social media blown up over things like that. It's uncalled for, and something needs to be done, whether it's them checking their fans or this league checking. There's no time for it anymore.
And before I cut it off, I want to let this play too right here, because I really want to highlight the remarks right here. So let's listen.
For Elisa speaking up. Following those strong comments, the WNBA released the following statement. In part, it read, while we welcome a growing fan base, the W will not tolerate racist, derogatory, or threatening comments made about players, teams, and anyone affiliated with the league. So obviously.
All right, there you go. That was it right there. Now let's dive back into the conversation. The reason why I wanted to play that, and especially that last part I wanted to play, was because I wanted you guys to understand. Did you notice that they didn't have any consequences for people moving forward? And that's the thing that I'm noticing more than anything else that we go through, is that there are always consequences for us when it comes to things, but there's never any consequences for anyone else. Because like that is uncalled for, to know that players have to come in here and entertain you guys, and then also have to worry about people talking negative about them all at the same time. That just doesn't make any sense to me. So with that one, that really bothers me. And can I tell you guys, it's getting out of hand. We are getting to a point now where it's almost like we are at Jim Crow time. If you don't know anything about how Jim Crow works, or even how they did the quote unquote, I don't even want to talk about those people because they always flag everything. But those people that are at war with the people on the land with them right now, those people, what they went through back in the 1940s, that it was, yeah, hopefully you guys got what I was trying to say. But those people and our people have went through, and I'll say it like this, and I use them as a context because what they did, and the only reason I bring them up, let me say it this way. The only reason I bring them up is because the way that they write it in history is that they tell you that before they could start demonizing those people, they had to basically have them look like they were degenerates. So even though this was before television, they ran a lot of newspaper ads. They were constantly doing billboards. It was in print. It was in hearsay. It was just literally everything was about denigrating what they look like. And see, that way, when you do that, it can make it kind of easier when it's time to go exterminate them. You know what I'm saying? Because no one's going to care. You're going to treat them like a weed. And they do it to black people every day. It is crazy that, like you say, that these women and these men in these sports are predominantly black, and they have to be subjugated to that type of behavior. One thing I can definitively tell you, if they had these games in the middle of the hood and the audience were predominantly black, they would have stricter, tighter rules for them. It's just that they don't police their own people the way they police us. They give more passes to their own people, unlike they give to us. And it's just getting to a point to where it's just blatant now. And I think the people who are still denying it, and a lot of times they seem to be the Democratic people, they call them Democratic shields, or it seems to be Republican idiots, and I'm talking about black people on both sides. They're just regurgitating for their party. But if everybody just used our common sense, none of these people care about us. You know, no one cares. No one's going to care about us. And what we're going to have to learn to do, if we're ever going to have any level of success in this world, is we just have to do it for ourselves. If you know anything about the Jim Crow era, it was a constant assault on black people. And I'm watching it today. This whole thing with Diddy, which I'm not a Diddy fan. Again, and it's sad that I even have to preface it with that. But when that man's probably not ever going to see the light of day again. And I've never seen someone get arrested, get put in jail with no bond, and then they found victims after the fact. I've never seen that. Same way with the Bill Cosby. I'd never seen that before. It's sad to be able to think that it's 40 million of us here. Or at least that's what they tell us. And if it is 40 million of us here, it's sad that even though he's a shitty person, probably in business, I don't know him as a human being, but as a business person, yes, Diddy's a shitty person. But I think the punishment should always fit the crime. R. Kelly, I remember when people brought him up, and don't get me wrong, I understand that name triggers women because whether we realize it or not, we have a lot of sexual trauma in our community that's like washed over, and we'll address it on a later podcast. But so this is not an exoneration of him at all. This really doesn't have anything to do with him. But that man shouldn't even be in prison right now. Because if you read what's actually in the paperwork of why he's in there, it has nothing to do with any of the things that people are championing or excited that he's in there for. He's not in there for any of that. Same reason Bill Cosby wasn't in jail for any of the things you thought he was in there for. Same way if Diddy goes to jail, he's not going to jail for Cassie. Cassie's not going to come up. Tupac doesn't come up. Any of these things doesn't come up. They just keep pushing those things into the lexicon, into the media, and they just keep putting it out there. And see, they know that we're going to be stupid, and we're just going to read the headlines. We're going to get triggered by the videos that we watch, and we're not going to pay attention to anything like with any substance when it comes to this. And it's sad to watch that. It really, really is. But he's not the only one. I think about in the last few years what Kyrie Irving had to go through for posting a link. The man post a link. Didn't tell you whether he liked it, disliked it. Post a link. Hey, you can take from this whatever you choose. And to suspend the man and to basically say that he's anti-Semitic and he's this and he's that, it just makes no sense. And I have to do a video, and I'm thinking about doing this to where we're gonna basically, hell, before I even get there, the new one, Mayor Eric Adams in New York City, he's going down, and he was sitting there being a do-boy for the Democrats. He let New York City get flooded with immigrants, illegal immigrants. He did this, and the things he get is that they're gonna get him on bribery charges. Newsflash to my entire audience. Every time you see a black politician get in trouble for some type of bribery or something else he did in the political field, they all do it. But your people are the only ones that are getting tagged for it. It's just true. It is. It really, really is. But I digress when it comes to that. I want people to understand that what we're looking at, it's crazy. It's only going to get worse as long as we keep allowing it to happen. And see, for me, I'm not going to champion it. I'm not going to get up here and pom-pom Tupac. Diddy. I'm not going to pom-pom any of this stuff. I'm not going to pom-pom Kamala Harris, Kamala. I don't know the woman's name. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I really don't know her name. But what's crazy is to watch all of the things that happen, like Sonia Massey here in this country in recent weeks. And there's been multiple black people that have suffered. My hometown, North Carolina, where they found the quote unquote rope around the man's neck, but it's not a lynching. Come on, man. This is Jim Crow stuff. And just because you say it, I'm a cop and I say so, doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean it is true. It doesn't mean that we have to sit here and take this. Right? Let me say it this way. Right now, I am putting together a new lecture. I do lectures from time to time. And the new lecture I'm doing it's going to be about the indigenous people of the Americas. And not only what they look like, but how they lived. And the one thing I'm learning as I dive into this history is that majority of the stuff that has happened to us, or that is happening to us currently, happened to us back in the past. It really did. And we're just going through it all over again. We're going to learn about the doctrine of discovery. We're going to learn about the Mors Sundry Act. We're going to learn about some of these things. I know that you don't know what any of this stuff is, but this stuff that I'm talking about, these are things that's going to teach you, how did we get here? How did we get to this point? How do you get to a country to where you can literally openly crap on one group of people and everybody's okay with it, even the people you're crapping on? And I know black people are not okay with it, but I watch us make justifications and excuses for the things they do to us all the time, and it makes no sense. We have to stop. We got to do better than that. You feel me? It's just frustrating to watch that at times. You know? But another thing I wanted to touch base on was something I saw Roland Martin touch on recently. And if I can get that pulled up real quick, I really, really want to play this for you guys real quick. This is right here. This is really quick. But I want to play this, and then I want to address something he said. I'm not even going to play the whole clip, but it's something he said in it, and it sparked something in me, and it took my mind in a wholly different direction, and I had like an aha moment. So, but just listen real quick. So, hold on. Got started over.
The 6th Supreme Court. Let me say this to every single black man who is watching or who is listening. The 6 Supreme Court justices named by Republicans, including Clarence Thomas, who's black, all voted to allow the execution of Marcellus.
Get it out, Roland.
Let me say it again. The six conservative Supreme Court justices named by
He
Republicans
looked like he been drinking.
all voted to let Marcellus Williams die tonight. The 3 justices named by Democratic presidents, they voted to stop his execution.
That's what I wanted to play for you guys. And the reason why I wanted to play that was probably for a different reason than what you guys are thinking. I wanted to play that because I wanted you guys to, just like me, why is it the only time we should vote for politics is for something that has to do with some of the most the lowest form of things that we are into? Like, now I understand, I know the whole case, I understand the man DNA should have exonerated him, I get all of those things, and it's damn shame that they executed this man, so this has nothing to do with him. But to take those moments to basically do, politics, because like I know, I guarantee you, I don't even have to do this. If I go pull up another case of another black guy that's probably sitting right down there with him, that probably the Democrats did the exact same thing the Republicans did. Stop that. Stop with the trying to appeal to us on the lowest common denominator. I say that because I think about anytime they want to talk to us, it's never about building us. It's always about keeping us right where we're at. If that man gets out of prison, great. He gets out. Lovely. I understand it. If you put all Democratic people on the Supreme Court, that's great. But why is it 75% of all exonerated cases in this country has to do with black people? That means all of them are putting black people in jail at a higher clip than what they should be doing. So what I want us to do is I want you to stop taking people like you, Roland, and just picking out things that are so openly egregious. And then when we tell you things that are egregious to us, like reparations, that we need our income, that the world is basically moving ahead and they're gotten us stagnant on pay, on every other aspect of life, but you won't speak to that in the right that we have. Remember, a few years ago, you told us black folks won't get them shit. The only time you started talking about reparations is when the momentum started coming from the grassroots. Let's stop playing and be honest about it. So what I want people to do is stop listening to these people that want to tell you to vote based upon fear. I know you've heard that recently a lot. This fear mongering has to stop. But that's the reason why you see it so much now. It's because that's all that they ever have for you. It's fear. I don't respond to fear. See, the human nature, and the reason why they respond to fear is because the human nature is most people run away from fear. I actually is the exact opposite. I run towards it. So I want to get as closer to it as I possibly can, because if I get closer to it, then that means I'm going to conquer. Because really, to be honest with you, everything I've ever did in life that caused me to feel fearful, it was just the fear of the unknown that scared me the most. I'm just tired of watching us get railroaded by the same talking points year in, year out. I have been watching politics heavily since 2008 with Barack Obama. I started in 2004 with John Kerry and all of them, but I've really got into it with Obama. And what I've seen for the last 20 years is I've watched them literally push fear. Every election is the election of our lives. Every election is about keeping people from killing us. Every election is keeping them from going door to door. Oddly enough, I was talking to a family member the other day, and we was talking about who were we going to vote for, if we were going to vote at all. And my family member I was talking to made reference to her spouse was going to vote Democrat, of course. And not because he loves the VP Harris. It's not that he loves her. He's going to vote Democrat solely because the fearmonger has scared him so bad that he believes that if Trump's going to get into office, that he's going to go door to door and just shoot people. That's crazy to me, right? That's crazy to you. It should be. It should be crazy to you. And the reason why I say that is because you act like you don't have a choice in that matter. Somebody come to my door, you're going to feel it. If I know a mob is down the street, all the black people together need to mob together. I can promise you this. Don't nobody want to be shot. They got guns. We got guns too. That's not going to happen. That's fear. That's not how they run things. White supremacy doesn't work that way. White supremacy doesn't work in a way to where it's going to dominate you direct on. And see, but see, black people, we're used to us being direct. Everything's direct. When you don't like a nigga, I don't like that nigga. You don't never just play with him, get underneath him, figure out how he ticks and then take him out. No, I don't like that nigga and I need everybody to know it. That's how we roll. And so they know that too about us. And they exploit us with that. I just want us to know that. I want us to stop. This is the last thing I'm doing. I'm going to get out of here. I'm not going to make it long today. All right. So this is what I want us to do. I want us to stop and think. Think about everything that you've done. If you're an adult, think about everything you've done since you was a child and think about everything that they've told you should and shouldn't do. Now, did any of the stuff that they tell you that was right? What did they tell you? Get up on the day, go work, bust your ass, work hard, have great integrity, go to church on Sundays, brush your teeth. You know, they always say these things. Pat your baby on the head. I'm exaggerating, but you understand what I'm saying. Now, let me ask you something. By being that model citizen that they wanted you to be, did it help you economically? Did you get out of your situation by working hard, busting those bricks in the construction site? Or did the only reward you get was more busting the bricks on the construction site? So that's the delusion. You don't get anything until you own it. And you ain't gonna get anything until your culture owns something, because even if you directly don't own something, your culture needs to own it. Then that way they can build you up too. No one's going to help you get in front of them. It is called race for a reason. So what I want to say on the last thing, and I get out of here. Remember, just remember. I don't know why I got kicked offline, guys. The thing kicked me offline, but I'm back. While I was sitting there listening, I don't know what happened. It just kicked me offline and I've lost my whole spot of where I was at. I knew I was ready to get out of here, but what was I saying? Shit, I don't even remember myself. But anyways, I was just catching and this may be all totally off topic because I can't even remember. But one thing I was thinking about, I think I missed when I was talking about Roland and that piece that he did when he was talking about the Supreme Court justices and who we need to appoint, Democratic or Republican Supreme Court justice, all that stuff. You know the stuff we were just watching. Something else I missed when I want to address when it comes to that. I talked about the fear aspect of it. But one thing I want to say to Roland, your platform is going to be smaller than mine eventually. I promise you. Because one thing we're going to provide over here is we're going to provide an alternative to that buck dancing. We're going to provide an alternative to you just basically trying to tell us how to live in fear. I want the people in my audience are going to be kings and queens, and I don't mean that in that colloquial sense that people talk about. I'm talking about for real. We're going to be kings and queens over here, and we're going to get treated as such over here. You are not going to get talked down to by the person standing in front of you. I may have a level of information to provide to you guys that you come here for, but that's all it is. I just have the information. I didn't create it. I didn't come up with it. I'm just here to disseminate it to you guys, so it maybe us together collectively can get more done than I can by myself and you can by yourself. But anyways, with that being said, I'm going to jump on out of here before I lose my fucking spot again. But I appreciate all the love. I appreciate the people who have came in and checked me out. Remember, if you haven't did it and you're here still, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let the boy know that you like them, okay? Until then, I'm going to catch y'all next time, all right? See you on the next one. Peace.
Whoa. Before you leave this podcast and go somewhere else, did you hit the notification bell? Because if you didn't, please do so now. And I'm talking to the people who've already subscribed. But if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do that as well. Hit the like button, and I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.